I'm supposed to be live now here, I guess. I hope everyone can hear me. Haven't seen anyone come in yet, so as usual, gotta give it a few minutes, I guess. Hey, what's up, Jimmy? Hopefully, there's some popcorn somewhere. Hey, Tom. Yeah, well, I'm a professor, so you got to give me at least 15, right? I think that was the rule back in the day, right? Love you too, Brad. Let's throw that down there in the corner for now. I think we will. Hey, Donald's with us. Haven't seen you for a little while. Good to see you, buddy. I have the streaming software is over here on this screen, and then the Facebook chat is over here on this screen. So I have to look back and forth a little bit. So I apologize that I'm not looking at you since the other stuff's over here on this other screen. Um, Give it just another maybe minute or so. I know it always takes a little while to pop up on everybody's screen while we're uh, while we're waiting. Let me go ahead and try something right quick. So we're gonna change that up, make that a little bigger for a minute. Everyone, you're gonna get shaky cam for a minute. Let's see. I know it ain't gonna be the best because I don't have a tripod for this particular camera, but figure why not? We can do it this way while we kind of give everyone a few minutes. There comes a train coming through. All right, everybody, that's the whole layout. Show's over. That's it. Shaky cam again. All right. All right. I'm gonna assume everyone's here enough, and I can kind of roll along. I'm gonna first turn off that motor for now. All right. Hey Dakota, how you doing, man? Um, all right. So when Pat first asked me to introduce the bow line, my bit of everything branch line, I was one of my first questions was, what am I gonna do? Because like for those of you that were with us here just a minute ago, you literally saw the whole thing. It's not a very big layout, so how do I fill up an hour to show a layout that's not even 8 foot long? So we're going to talk about a couple different things with the layout as a whole first. Maybe do some, and hopefully near the tail end here, do some operations. So here's a photo of the layout. You can kind of see I'm up in the corner here, and then there's just a standard photo. I took that literally minutes ago, um, and you can see it's here in the corner of my office. I'm literally talking to you the same computer I spend most of my day for my paid job on. Hey Blake. Hey Connor. Um, and my layout is right here to my right, and it's less than 8 feet. I want to say it's about 7 foot long. It's sitting on a hollow core door. You can literally see the the door hinge there in the framework there if you look. So, but it is made up of all T-TRAK modules, as you can see as well, and that kind of plays into my whole bit of everything that we talked about. I kind of like a little bit of everything. I like some old stuff. I like some modern stuff. I'm not really locked into any one thing at the moment. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I like this T-TRAK as a layout type of scenario at the moment. The entire layout is powered by DCCEX. We'll talk a little bit about that further on down the road some. I do use Engine Driver for my main app. I'm sorry, for my main for my throttle. So you can see the phone sitting over here on the right. You can also see it in the screen behind me here. My phone is my throttle, and then I do have the phone hooked up to a volume knob actually, and you can see that sitting here too. And that gives me that tactile, the click 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 feel. And yes, yeah, Jimmy. As I turn it, you get that positive feedback from operating, but it's actually operating on the phone right there. So I still have all the functions. The horn and the lights and everything like that is right here beside me, but I also have the tactile of the volume knob. Yep, there's my totes. So there's some of my other modules sitting underneath here. So one of the really cool things about doing this with a T-TRAK module is that it can kind of grow with me, kind of thing. So here's where we sit right now. This is kind of the current layout as you see sitting here in the background. It's just a matter of a handful of modules taking up this one wall. It's only a total of what, 8 modules there. 2 of them are unfinished, which you guys will actually see when we do some videos in a little while. So that's the blue ones. The yard is basically unfinished, but I treat that as, in my mind, that's a little different than unfinished, because the yard, part of that unfinishedness right now is because it's still a case of, since we use it at shows and everything, I want to make sure I really like the way the yard works. So it's kind of unfinished, but by design at the moment. Anyway, so this is what I have right now. I'm really hoping sometime in the real near future that I can kind of branch out around that corner. So if you notice, if I add a couple modules on, I can branch out around the corner here just by adding on one more table. All of those modules that you see there are the ones that are in my totes underneath that we that Jimmy was kind enough to point out. So a lot of those yellow modules are sitting down underneath here right now. The blue ones are ones that are works in progress. Those are ones that have already been cut, have designs, etc. I just have to finish them. Oh yeah, by the way, so there's the had to have the drink. um, and that's kind of the nice thing about it. And then, for example, if everything works out, let's say one of my kiddos upstairs finally moves out, and I can take up a little bit more space upstairs and up there, or I can move some stuff up there for storage type purposes. Maybe I'll spin around that corner that we have as well. Also notice that this one kind of does a different look. So instead of doing loops, in this case, this is more like an out and back. So, so it also allows me to kind of play around. I don't get kind of locked into some type of thing, and then halfway through while working on your bench work, you're like, oh, you know what, that doesn't work, and I got to rip it all out. It kind of is just here. So I kind of like this idea. It works for me, particularly because I am less experienced in it. Maybe when I'm more experienced, like Brad, and I can been here for a little while, uh, I'll know exactly what I want. But for right now, I'm kind of a little all over the place. So these are just some ideas. You can see how you can kind of play around with this, and this is one of the things I really do like about the T-TRAK as my home layout. Hey, thanks, Brad. I'm actually kind of excited to try this one out too. I almost want to kick out a kid and make him go live with the dog for a while. This one kind of excites me a little bit. Um, anyway, so let me move on a little bit. We'll talk. A lot of people kind of think of T-TRAK as just kind of a loop to loop, so it's just a tail chaser like we have going on right now, and it can be. There's no doubt, but I also do like to actually Oh, there we go. Do I have audio again? I think so. I just realized I clicked. Yep, I think I clicked the wrong button. You guys should hear me again. Still no audio? Okay. Thomas said we're good now. All right. Sorry about that, guys. All right. I think I know where I was. So we were just trying to describe this a little bit, right? Did I probably didn't cover anything about my main line or anything, or you guys didn't hear me talking about my main line? I assume. Okay. Uh, that's right. Check check. Um, so anyway, let me roll back just a little bit. So the main line is the red line. On a T-TRAK module, you have a red line and a yellow line. In the diagram, you'll see the red line is my main line. That one tends to be my roundy round. That one does tend to just do what you see right now. I tend to put up something that I like to watch, and I just let it go. Um, but every once in a while, I will use it as part of the operations. It will pick up or drop off from the interchange, but that kind of plays into the going round and round part too. So I'll just let it go round and round, and I'll drop something and pick something up, and then keep letting it go around. Right now, I happen to have a Halloween train going around, so it's all my orange and black stuff and my Happy Halloween, and I need a BNSF locomotive. All I got is the Penzi Black, so but uh, so I just tend to use the red line as I basically ignore it. It's just something there to enjoy, I guess you would say, for half the time. Um, but really, when it comes to operations, that's where I use the yellow line and all the internal stuff. So I have my interchange there on the right. I kind of picture the train only going from the right to the left. There's like if you were to think about it as there's a wall right here, for example, where the train itself doesn't go anywhere. So the interchange is down here. For example, if you think about the Turtle Creek branch line, for example, the Turtle Creek branch line ran from Export to Trafford. So the interchange was down at Export. I'm sorry, down at Trafford, and then it ran up to Export, and Export is where the yard was, and then it just ran back and forth. And that's kind of how I treat the yellow line here. The only real difference, if you notice, I don't have a runaround at my yard. So, but if you notice in my design, I put a little runaround mark there. You'll see these three little kind of shaded colors or shaded elements. Those are my imaginary, right? So I have an imaginary runaround, and what I do there is I use the entire loop as my runaround. You guys, I'll show you that a little bit later here if everything goes all right. If I don't screw it up. but um, so the I don't have a runaround over there. That's what that works for. But as a general rule, I don't go all the way around my loop because I don't treat that as a thing. This thing goes from the north to the south. It goes from Export to Trafford, or maybe the other way around. Like I talked about before, this is a bit of everything. I don't really think of it as one single place. So whatever I want it to be at the time. There have been times where I've kind of played around with the idea that I have two different interchanges. I have the interchange that's labeled here, and then storage one is also an interchange track. So that would be um, kind of like you have a line that runs through. I just drew a blank on what that's called. But when I was playing around with Todd's car, for example, and I picked it up from the interchange down here on one side when I picked it up from Pat, and then I delivered it to the interchange up there where it says storage, and that's where I was taking it to Richards Railroad. So anyway, that's kind of how I treat it. And then when I do operations, what I actually do, let me get rid of the overview here. I don't use car cars in that. That's a little too fancy for what I've been. Oh, nice. So I'll have to talk to you about that in a little bit. um, I don't get too fancy because I don't have that fancy of a layout, to be honest with you. I just have the basic layout here. So what I use is a simple thing called a wheel report. And we'll actually go through this a little bit, but you can see where there are three industries. We have the freight house, the team transfer, or the T-TRAK, and we have the cement, Skyway Cement. Um, and then, so in this particular example, you can see that the freight house is going to get one box car and one flat car. For a total of two cars. And then in parentheses there, let me bring back out my pointer here. Um, you can see in parentheses on that freight house, the parentheses mean that's how many cars will fit on that track. So it can only fit 2 cars to begin with, and it's going to receive 2 cars. So that means, um, whatever's there, if there's anything there already, both cars have to come out because there's 2 cars coming in. If you notice at the Skyway Cement, for example, the Skyway Cement has a 3-car track, and they're going to only be receiving 1 covered hopper. Oh, moved the wrong thing. Sorry about that. So you can see that the Skyway Cement here, um, Skyway Cement has 1 covered hopper that's going to be coming in, but they have a 3-car track. So then I can make adjustments. I can kind of decide, do I want to just drop one off if there's a hole, or do I want to kind of play by I sometimes have a rule of first one in, last one out type, or last in, first out kind of thing. So sometimes I will pull that last one, so just to add just a little more play into the game, I guess you would say. And you notice here along the bottom, so we have our total cars and we have our total number of cars and the total number of types. So let me slide this out here just for a second. I think we can get that into view. It comes down further than I thought it would. Or I had to pull it down further than I thought it would. There we go. So we have 1, 2, 3 box cars. And if you notice on the wheel report, we got 3 box cars. We have 1 flat car and 1 covered hopper. So these are what I have lined up at the interchange. So this particular wheel report process is ready to go. And at any time, like, all I do is, the other thing is, if you look up there in the corner there, we have the days, right? So we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's really that gives me 7 different ones to pick from. So I have 7 different ones on my clipboard, and I just kind of move them back to front and rotate them around. If I wanted to add more, it wouldn't be hard to make a new one up and just throw it in the list somewhere. Um, so whenever I do this as well, I just look at and see what I have in my cars, and if I need 1 or 2 more types of cars. So like if on tomorrow, I'll just do that as an example. So tomorrow, I have 2 box cars, and that's it. So if I need to, I'll pull 2 box cars and I'll throw them over here in the corner. I have a couple extra cars sitting here in my basket ready. So it doesn't take long for me to kind of set up a game. I'll use the word game. It doesn't take me very long to set up operations, because it's just a matter of making sure I have enough cars somewhere on the layout to begin with, which I usually do already, and then I can just go at it. So all right, let's kind of do that, I guess. We're gonna go ahead and stop the Penzi car back there in the corner, or back there along the back edge. So you guys right now are looking down the back side. That's my yard side over there. There goes the brakes. I got the Turtle Creek ready to go right there in the middle. You should see them um, pulling out. There we go. Once he comes around that corner, you should see him coming from the bottom of the screen here in just a minute. Now we got to pull that down off the curve. There we go. I just realized somehow my throttle setting got my throttle theme on the phone got mixed up. So I'm gonna have to give me a little minute to deal with some of that. I want to bring this down into camera view. I wouldn't necessarily need to, if I was doing this, on my own. But I want to just make sure that everyone can kind of see everything here. That should work for the moment. All right. So as I said earlier, we're gonna trade out the box cars here at the freight house. So um, the one of my rules I have in place here is the freight house, the curve here right at the beginning of the track won't take a 60-foot car. My fence is too long. So if I take a 60-foot car into there, either the fence is getting broken or the car is getting broken, right? So for example, here I got a 60-foot car sitting on the end. So this car cannot go back that route, but I need to get 2 box cars back there. So I know that the West Penn car here needs to go back there, and then same thing with the rail box. So those are the 2 that I'm going to drop off. I don't know if you can quite make it out here. It doesn't look like in the camera you can quite make it out, but I currently have a box car and an empty gondola sitting in there. So I got to pull those first. So we're going to go ahead and just pull those out of there. we go. Pull those two empties out. Oh, like I said, my my theme got messed up there, and I don't want to waste too much time here messing with it. So we'll see how we do. Anyway, so we pull out those two empties, get them out of the way. We'll just slide them right down here for a minute. Back up. I can go ahead and throw that West Penn back there, but I can't take the gold. I can't take my 60 footer. I can't take that gold car in there, as we said. And this forward and reverse is messing me up really bad because, like I said, my theme got messed up. There we go. So we'll drop that off back here. Oh, there we go. See, I got messed up because of the theme that I have going here. Reverse. Normally I have this set up so that depending on how I turn the knob, it goes forward or reverse. I got to reach over here to the phone to turn on the forward and reverse, so that's what's messing me up at the moment. We'll fix that here in just a minute or two. Alright, so now we're just going to get these cars out of the way again. Slide them on down. Now we're clear. And I can shove back the rail box. And this is one of those things too. So like right now, I didn't set up any definition of which one has to be in which position in this case. Since they're both box cars, doesn't really matter. But for example, if I was putting in a box car and a gondola, the gondola has to go in the back because there's enough space back there for, on the front here I have the dock, but in the back I have an open area for things like tankers or flat cars or whatever. So box cars though, it doesn't. There is no order in this case. All right, so there we go. We are done with the front side here. Oh, again, I gotta. There we go. So now we're going to. I have my two empties on the tail end. I got my other three deliveries heading to the other side, and we're gonna let that roll. I'm gonna actually change up my setting here because this is just messing me up something fierce. There we go. All right. Hopefully I won't cause any accidents that way. All right, so we're going to come around the back here. And, oh, I got to switch my camera view now. There we go. And not paying attention, and I ended up into the yard, and I don't want to do that quite yet. I guess I did need one more person to be down here with me. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull this down a little further. And this is where that imaginary runaround comes into play. Because naturally, what you would in a real world situation, he would come in down here, he would disconnect, because I'm going to take care of the covered hopper next. And then I would do a runaround move and come back around the front, right? Well, I don't have a runaround track here, but what I can do is kind of quickly run around my loop. So we're going to take a minute. We're going to run around the loop. Stop that before we get too fast. There we go. All right. Hook back up again. There we go. All right. This is what I was talking about before as far as my. So now I got to trade out the covered hoppers. I have a couple different ways I could do that. I could decide to switch out the last one first, and make sure this one goes into last and all that kind of stuff. For the sake of this tonight, just to kind of speed things along a little bit and not waste too much time, like I'm doing here by not switching properly. I'm gonna just go right in here and I'm just gonna pull out one and put in the first one kind of scenario. So we'll just pull out the first one. Another thing, if I remember later, I will. Oh, dang it! Did I stop broadcasting? I can't see anything. So if one of you guys can hit me up on the group chat, am I still broadcasting or did my browser crash? Question mark. I'll just send that out in the group chat as well. All right, so I guess it was just my browser that crashed. I looked over to see what the I looked over to see how I was doing and everything was gone. I just saw your response, Todd. Good. I know I'm a professional now. All right. So as I was saying, I'm just going to switch out kind of one car for one car here to keep things a little bit simpler. So we're going to drop this one back into the one storage. There's my empty car coming out. Oftentimes what I do is I'd pull out all three and then I would only put the full one in. The full one would go all the way in the back, that kind of thing. First in, last out. But we're going to keep it a little bit simpler for this. Also, if you notice, my speeds are a little high. There we go. All right. Now, to kind of show that, the loop, I know the loop seems like a weird runaround, and it took me a little while to wrap my head around it, but it does really, really does work quite well. Um, so we're going to pull, yeah, we're going to grab these guys. We're going to get these guys out of the way here, because right now I got to get on the other end of this so that I can service this track. So we're going to pull these two. There we go. The rail link and the gondola there are also empty, so we're going to drop those off with my other empty covered hopper there. And this particular track that the covered hopper currently is on is also my lead track to the tail to the T-TRAK. It is the lead track to my T-TRAK, so I need to move everything, all the empties down onto my storage track here. All right, so there's three of my technically five empty or four empties because I got one more empty over here at the T-TRAK. There we go. That's what we got to do now. We're going to go pull the empty out of the T-TRAK. Here's another spot where, depending on how I have things set up, right now this is actually set to be turned off because of a feature that I want to show you guys all later. So my locomotive can't go all the way back there. So I could have decided, you know what, let's play a game here and make sure we have a handle. But that would require a little extra work that, once again, just not looking to do for tonight. But I could have said, oh, I need to have a handle and I need to have a car in the front before I do all that. All right, so now that I got that track empty, I'm going to come back down here, and then just before I do anything, this would be that place where I would normally do my runaround move. But I don't have a runaround track, so we are going to quickly run all the way around the loop. Let's pause kind of for a minute and take my drink or call the engineer, something. There we go. I don't think that coupled. Let me, little hand of God there. There we go. All right, so now I'll be able to shove these guys into the T-TRAK back here. So we'll get that all the way down. Back it on up. T-TRAK. And I guess now I am using my handle. Nope, a little bit further. There we go. Technically, I gotta get that empty around the. How do I want to do that? Yeah. So we'll go all the way around again. Get that empty off of the front end. Because I do want to bring this whole load around front and show a couple features with that. And so this is another good example here where these two cars are left over from the other day. Um, and normally they would get taken down to the interchange to be dropped off if if this was kind of real world scenario. It's just sitting there ready for me to in case I need it for something else. As long as that track stays fairly empty, I'm okay. If that track starts to get a little too full, that's when they come off and go down into that basket down below there. So as you can see here now, I have, nope, didn't make it. um, so as you can see, I now have all of my empties sitting here on this run, and I can then um, return it to the interchange. And I would call that a run. I've done this a little bit more indirect, or a little more pace, properly paced and all. And it's probably a good 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes or so of a good running time. I'm going to pull this back around to the town side for a second so that you guys can see a few things I want to show you. Because this is the other thing that was asked to be brought up. There we go. I think y'all can see the controller all right. You can see the phone all right. I'm going to grab a drink. Union Railroad speed. Yep. Am I still broadcasting all right? Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. I did get. Okay, awesome. All right. So I want to touch base on this. So some of the guys I know have asked about it, how this all. So there's my knob. That's just a standard um, volume knob. It's a USB. I think I just sent this link over to Brad a little while ago. I think it was less than $20 if I remember right, right? And that's what gives me my forward and reverse and everything. And if you notice here, you'll see on the setting here, you can see as I turn the knob up, you can see it go forward or go faster up. If I turn the knob backwards because of the setting I happen to have, that brings it down to center. And of course, if I just push down, that stops. And then because I have the switching one on, if I roll enough backwards, you know, turn that volume down as it were, you can see that it now goes backwards. Oop, I can hear somebody got derailed. We'll just pop that right off for now. So you can see where how that kind of aspect of this works. So if I just push down on the knob, that makes them stop. And if I turn like volume down, that makes them go in reverse. And volume up makes them go forward. So that's how that ends up working. All right. One other thing I wanted to show real quick. This is something else that Pat wanted me to make sure to point out. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to pull that locomotive off. I'm going to pull that locomotive off. Those are my two DCC locomotives. And we've talked about how DCCEX allows for running of all kinds of, both DC and DCC. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to show you that. So I just switched it while we were talking. That's it. All I had to do was send the command. So now my tracks are DC track. So I have here, which camera we got? I forgot. I have my little tiny Kato pocket line fella. He's purely DC. Put him on there. Tell my tell my controller to select number 7, just because that's what I'm assigned for my DC. It could literally be anything. I could pick the number 21 or whatever. It doesn't matter. DCC address short 7 acquire. Oh, now it's retry. I don't know why it's trying to do that. So let's do the other controller since see we got a backup just in case. Forward. And you can see there that we got my little DC locomotive running there now. And I can throw on another one. Oop, I forgot that train's too big. Let me do this. There we go. I forgot we still had the Christmas train sitting, or the Halloween train sitting over there. So we'll go to. There we go. Sorry about that. I forgot to have audio there. My fault. I forgot to bring it over to the double screen setting. All right. Um, we should be good again. I don't know if yes. So great. Brad actually did answer you. I was answering you audibly, but the it doesn't do zero stretching like you see with Digitrax. It basically is still sending your PWM style. Um, it's sending the PWM style signal, pulse width modulation or whatever it is. I forget off the top of my head. But so it just sends that. So no, the engine does not heat up any. It's working just like it should. It does make a slight buzz. So if you're in a really quiet room like I happen to be at the moment, it does sound slightly different than a really good DC controller does. But that's standard with the PWM style motors anyway. Let me scroll on down here. Let me check out anything you guys got. um, let me see here. Let me throw that on there. This guy runs really slow. He runs a little wonky on this particular layout. He runs really good over there on my door bond layout. I'll have to give him a little bit of speed over here just to kind of keep him rolling. Um, there we go. So, all right, there we go. All right. I definitely have a good 15 minutes. I think I sped through a little faster than I thought I would, so I guess that's a good thing. But I got 15 minutes. I'll take any questions, change camera angles, and I can do a handy cam if you guys want me to do a shaky hand cam. to get things a little closer if anybody wants. Jason, catch you later. I hope you enjoyed it. Hey Todd, is it true that the SW ones had to warm up? Because I know this guy always has to warm up first. Ben, I actually have three different webcams that I'm running here, and then they're mounted on tripods. In fact, now that I think about it, yeah, if you look at the if you look at the yard view, you can see the one right here. My finger's kind of right up here in the corner, um, and then the other webcam you can actually see right there. Thanks, Dodie. I do too. I find it to be beneficial for myself at the moment, just because, like I said, it's I'm kind of all over the place still. You know, I love your layout. Your layout's stunning. Um, I'm not there yet. I'm not ready for one lock solid yet. um, Connor, you and I, you know what you know, you're dorky enough. You can figure it out with me sometime. We can do the multicam when it's your turn. Paul, those are the double track crossovers. Because and they're not number sixes. I think they're actually spaced to be fours, but they are the double track crossovers. So yes, it keeps the spacing. Oh, in the yard they're not though. Sorry, the yards are number six, so they don't keep the 33 spacing. It's like 49 and a half, if I remember right. Todd, yeah, that's a Arnold that's running right now. Jimmy, what happened to the equipment? All right, so I know that 462 is actually over there in McKeesport right now and still runs regularly over there. 550 has been scrapped, and so has the 44 tonner that used to be over there as well. There was a rumor that the 44 tonner spent some time at one of their other shops, not here in Pittsburgh, and I forget where that is. I want to say Youngstown, but I don't. I know that's not right. But I haven't been able to confirm or deny that the 44 tonner went there for a little while. So the 44 tonner, as far as I know, went across the river, and then it was in Duquesne for just a short while, and then got scrapped. 550 got scrapped after the flood, and 462, 465, 462, yeah, 462 is living down in McKeesport right now. And I don't know if he happens to be with us or not, but that paper model down there is oh, of course now I forgot his name. I haven't seen him come up on comments. Dave, the paper model down there. That's actually Dave's. I can't wait to finish that corner. Which actually reminds me, that's another thing I wanted to bring up about the T-TRAK layout. Whenever I go and set this up next time, so after the show this weekend, this is all going to come down and this is all going to go to Monroeville. The front line here is all completed modules. These are all, you know, these are all scenery done type of scenario. So yes, Brad, thank you. Um, so this, when I set this back up again here on this table, I'm actually going to set this up the other direction so that I can actually look at it from the backside first of all. So I'll be able to look at all of these modules from the back, which will be kind of fun. But also I'll be able to readily access the two unfinished corners because they'll be living here on the front end for me. So I'll be able to kind of trade those in and out, and I'll be able to work on that scenery. It's just kind of neat that I'll be able to kind of flip things around. Oh, there he is. Hey, David. So I'll be able to flip things around. That's kind of another thing I was thinking about with the T-TRAK stuff. It's pretty cool where I can just like literally flip my whole loop around and look at it from the other side. Um, so I'll be able to appreciate kind of the back of the freight house or the back of the module that I just built um, for a while. Yeah, the SW1 runs really awesome. Those Arnolds run really great. They always take just a little bit of time to warm up, though. This particular Arnold, somebody had messed with it at one point. Put in a put in a screw on the back, and the screw for the back. Let me see if that for the back coupler was in the wrong spot, basically. So any coupler I tried to put in there was sunk way too deep, including the box and everything. It actually was too deep, as in like it bumped into the wheels. Um, so I actually had to put a Bachmann style dummy knuckle on there, which is one of the reasons why you see it running backwards here, is because the the coupler that is sitting there at the on the cab side doesn't quite work ideally. You know, it'll work a little bit, but it wouldn't work nice for running along here. But that just makes it just like the Union Railroad, right? We always run the cab front. So that's the way I have to run this one. Yeah, those guys really run sweet. I like them a lot. That one I picked up for dirt cheap. I picked that one up for a song. All right. Any other questions? I'm happy to address any or to share any, or like I said, point anything out in particular. How long does it tear down and set up? That's a good question. I don't know. When we're talking about the bigger layout, so um, when we're talking about our bigger layouts, like we've had those up and running in like 2 maybe 3 hours max. For right here, I can probably get this thing set back up again in about an hour. Teardown takes a little bit longer, only because I'll admit I'm a little bit anal about being real careful about wrapping up my wires nice and neat and making sure all the stuff gets put away kind of extra neat. Um, but so teardown sometimes can take a little longer, but uh, I probably can get this table set up in about an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half max. Jib, did I miss? I don't know. I'm gonna say yes. We are wrapping up. You should be able to see both sides of my layout right now. We did do some operations earlier, so you'll be able to catch the recording afterwards here. But if you have any questions about the layout, I'll be happy to answer them. In fact, actually, what we can do here, let me throw on another camera view here. Let me see. We're gonna go to handy cam. There we go. It's gonna be shaky, so if anybody gets a little shaky, try to cover you up so it's not too bad. All right, so let's see. There's the other camera, by the way, back there on the tripod. You can see it sitting back there. So we'll give everybody a quick overview again. I did this right at the beginning as well, so anyone who might have come in late. So there's my camper's corner with my tunnel. That does a nice job of hiding the back scene, especially when you're looking at it as an overview scenario. One of my double crossovers. My freight house module. And remember, I pulled the locomotives off earlier. That's why they're sitting on the street back there. Um, but that's the one actually I just finished up today. I posted up some photos about that one today. You can even see here I put in a little, because it's going to go to the show with this little under construction uh, picture I have in the corner. Um, oh yeah, hey Ben, that's actually the one that was running earlier. That's your sound locomotive that was running earlier. If you were here at the very beginning, that's one you did for me. So, um, and then here's my church corner, which is definitely one of my favorite pieces. I love that church. It came out really, really amazing. I wonder if I can get a decent front side view for y'all. Let me see here. Sorry, I know it's really shaky at the moment. There we go. It's really close though, huh? Maybe. Kind of bad focus, but not too bad, I guess. But anyway, I really do like that church. That came out really well. And then the other thing, I think I shared this one online the other day, but this corner piece over here is a new done too. And this corner piece is actually removable. Um, so, and I can just trade that out. So I kind of trade that out. Right now I have three different scenes that I put in there. Um, and I just finished the Halloween scene. Again, it doesn't quite like the super close, so I apologize. But there's my headless horseman there. All right, I'm gonna cover you up and move you again, so I don't want you all getting too seasick. All right, thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate that. All right. Anything else? Anybody's got some questions they can throw up? If not, I think we'll wrap it up. I'll give another minute or two. I'm gonna switch back to the layout view. There we go. And yeah, I'm a bit of a techie kind of person, so that's why we have a little more fancier setup. Todd, yeah, next time we'll get you, like, we got cameras all over the place. Donnie, I'm glad you had a good time, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Brad, hopefully it tells you that I'm going to be living for a long time. At least another 10 years, please. All right, guys. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. I'm glad to have you guys all in my house, even though it was virtual. Although this particular layout, I don't know if I could do it any other way. It's a little, as you saw, it's a little small. There's not like there's a space back here for two of us. But I appreciate it, guys. Todd, definitely sometime we'll have to touch base on that when I'm ready to start working out a little bit more of the when I'm getting ready to work out a little more of the Turtle Creek stuff. Throw these all back off. There we go. There's one last picture to leave on. All right, guys. See. Oh, wait. Over this way. See y'all later, man.